It happens in 2024. Now, I don't have a riddle. I'm not going to do a decode, but I'm just going to play a clip from a gentleman who does represent Finastra, who's going to be speaking on institutions and how it is going to be happening in 2024 at the infrastructure layer. And that it's absolutely critical that institutions and banks around the world lean into this and get it done. So I'm going to be playing that clip, but right now we got to talk here. The market is back up. We love to see it. For Bitcoin, it's been chopping sideways, and it's given an opportunity here for the altcoins to catch up. So Ethereum did a pretty good pump yesterday. Now we see XRP waking up to the triple sixes, which I don't like to see. We need to break through that one way or another. Right now we're at 665. So we're watching XRP, watching XLM finally catch up to 13 cents for XLM. Love to see it, but we got to get into it. We got the jobs report today, and it's already moving the markets, and so we're going to talk about that. You can see here that the DXY is back up. Basically, we had a strong jobs report, okay? And I'm going to break down, because as always, if you look at the details, it's not as strong as they want to lead us to believe, but it still moves markets regardless. And the reason why we're seeing the DXY back up and why we're seeing the 2-year and the 10-year back up is because we have strength coming back to the US dollar, and the fact that now folks are saying, oh, wait, maybe the Fed isn't going to start cutting rates January 2024 or even in the first quarter of 2024. And so you see right here, the DXY back up today, along with your 2-year and along with your 10-year. Let's see what happened to oil. Back up slightly here for oil. And silver was back down today to $23 per ounce. Here's your opportunity, folks. Here's your opportunity for $2,000 gold. Back down for both gold and silver. Now, the stock's also reacting positively to this news. I don't know why, other than just foolishness within the stock market. The fact that the Fed is going to be keeping rates higher for longer should not be a reason for the market to pump, but nonetheless, they find any reason to send this thing back up. So maybe people are buying stocks because the jobs numbers showed strength, I guess, even though we're going to break down the details of that here shortly. Before we get into that, I got to say, this was absolutely hilarious. I woke up and I saw this one. Hunter Biden payments to various women. And his payments here, this is a chart, not seasonally adjusted. I had to share this one with you. I got a good laugh out of this one. So if you missed it, we covered in last night's live show. Hunter Biden has been charged with 9 other charges, some of them felony, for not paying his taxes. And we covered last night, he pulled out like $1.6 million out of ATMs over the last few years. And it's like, I don't even know how that's possible, right? You're going to the ATM dozens of times per day to even accomplish that. So nonetheless, I thought that this chart here was pretty funny. Hunter Biden payments, and this is not seasonally adjusted. So I thought that was a pretty good one. But getting right on into the news here, guys. Today, we see that Panama's Trade and Industry Ministry has ordered Canada's First Quantum to end operations at its copper mine. First Quantum's Panama unit requests to lay off 4,000 employees, wild few weeks ahead in the copper world. Now, copper, this is a commodity metal resource here that they want to actually double the production of. To achieve all of our goals, all the electric vehicles, all the deals that they're trying to do here, the Green New Deal, to achieve that, we need to double the amount of copper that we're producing. But meanwhile, you're seeing mining operations shut down. And speaking of jobs, another 4,000 loss of jobs there. Not good. When we take a look at China's real estate market, it has suffered an 81% drawdown from 2021 to 2022 and another 64% drawdown in 2023. The global impact will be felt. Could we say the ripple effects will spread? Absolutely. And we're going to be getting into this a little bit later here. I'm going to be interviewing Marcel, the butcher of Wall Street, and I'm excited to talk to him about kind of the reverse repo facility, the flows that we've been seeing that take place over there, along with the ongoing liquidity crisis. So that interview is going to be airing tonight, and I don't have the exact time planned yet, but probably 5 or 6 p.m. on the West Coast, about 7 or 8 for you guys over there on the East Coast. So make sure you subscribe to that notification bell because you're not going to want to miss this update. But let's get on into it, folks. So the jobs report came out today, much anticipated, and let's get into it. This shows a gain of 199,000 in November. Wages are still hot, while U.S. unemployment rate drops to 3.7% from 3.9%. So we are seeing strength in our economy, but we got to look a little bit deeper, right? The employment report was somewhat softer if the return of up to 50,000 striking Hollywood and auto industry employees is set aside. So that's right, folks, nearly about a quarter, about 25% of these jobs that were added were the striking Hollywood and the auto industry employees. So that was a huge boost. I mean, without that, what are you at? You're at 140,000 jobs added. That would have been a huge miss. Huge miss. And maybe the expectations would have been adjusted if the strikers in Hollywood and the auto workers hadn't have come to an agreement. Maybe those expectations would have fallen off too. But then, you're looking at a much different data point for our unemployment rate and for the jobs added. And this is why it's so important. While we get all these data points, they manipulate how they come up with, like the variables that they're putting in to these equations to come up with the CPI, to come up with whatever it's going to be, the unemployment rate. They manipulate that. But then also when it comes out, bad news is good news, right? Even though it actually was a really weak report, this is now strength. And everybody's kind of realizing, oh, crap, maybe the Fed isn't going to be able to cut rates too soon here. And if they do, right, then we could see inflation rip roaring back. And so now you're starting to see folks get a little bit worried about, everybody was anticipating the Fed to start cutting rates at the beginning of 2024. The expectations for that priced into the market have actually been pushed back now till May or June. Now, Peter Schiff highlighted the same thing that I was saying. Pundits are excited that November's job report beat, which will likely be revised due to a miss next month. And that's the other thing too. Every month they revise the numbers that they gave us last month. And for the last year, they keep on revising them down lower. So they tout, 200,000 jobs added. Then 1 month later, well, actually it was only 280 or 180,000, right? It's a joke. When everyone is focusing on December, meanwhile, striking auto and motion picture workers returning to their jobs added 24% of the total, while government and healthcare made up 83% of the rest. So government, healthcare, and striking auto workers, I mean, that's who came back to work. So a huge amount of government employees, and a big part of the striking auto workers in that, there was that intervention too, talks of the government kind of intervening in that. They were able to avoid that, come to a deal. Now they're back to work. But without that, you can already see that the cracks are widening in the United States economy. And it should be a concern for everyone, right? Now, Wall Street Silver shares this one. If there is a recession in 2024, which most economists are now predicting, then it will be the first back-to-back recession since the early 1980s. A mere 2 years between recessions. Normally, in a recession, there is deleveraging of debt. However, during the pandemic, initially there was deleveraging, but central banks created such an instantly massive asset bubble that by the end of the pandemic, there was a massive re-leveraging of debt. So people actually levered back up. That has never happened before in U.S. history. So when folks say this time it's different, well, it absolutely is different. This has never happened in history. And we're going to find out what the ramifications of this are going to be, which is why we are now facing a second recession, but this time at astronomical levels of debt. And yet today's pundits are telling people to buy stocks ahead of this recession. And this is why I'm so worried about so many people here just getting suckered on into this rally that's taking place. We see it time and time again when the Fed starts raising rates and then they plateau. The market does one last gasp of air before it drowns out. I keep on saying it. And it's just true when you look back, but everybody's in denial. Everybody puts on the bull blinders, right? And they're only looking directly in front of them at green candles on the chart, at BlackRock saying that they're going to buy up all the Bitcoin, and Michael Saylor bought more Bitcoin, and stocks are back up, even though there's no fundamentals. Literally today, there was a fake AI chatbot that was put out. It was completely fake, but yet it pumped the markets. I forgot to mention, that was part of the reasons why the markets were up today, was because there was a fake chatbot, or it was equivalent to like a chat GPT or something that was released. And you guys can let me know in the comments down below. I probably have that wrong, but you get my point. There was some fake thing that was released, wasn't even real, and it pumped all these markets. It's just a joke. And we see here that the insiders are getting out. How many former CEOs, current CEOs, board of directors that are dumping all of their stock, Jeff Bezos dumping $1 billion worth of stock, JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon Chase dumping stock for the first time that he's ever done that in his history. How many of these do we have to see before, you see the writing on the wall and you understand what's about to take place here? Planet Fitness director and former CEO just sold 100% of his shares for $66 million. So another insider jumping off the ship. And last night's live show, I talked about, can crypto boom during a recession? And the answer was no, I don't think that it will. I think that it will pull back with everything else, but it's going to recover the fastest. That's a very important thing. While it can take years, sometimes it takes, much longer, sometimes it can take a decade or more for stocks to return back to the levels that they were at before a recession or before the Great Depression like we once had. What we had in 2020 was a V-shaped recovery recession. It was a recession that lasted about 2 months, and it was a V-shaped recovery. That's all the only track record that we have to look at crypto performing during a recession. Crypto wasn't around during the 2007 Great Financial Crisis, wasn't here during the dot-com bubble, but just look at what happened to the tech stocks during the dot-com bubble if you want a glimpse at what is going to take place. Right? They all got killed. They all got hit in a massive way. But did they recover? Yes. Did they recover and make some of the biggest gains? Absolutely. And that's what I think is coming here for crypto. And by the way, many of them also went away, right? Some of them didn't survive, which is what we're seeing right now too. But as far as where we're at in the timeline, it's interesting. We're seeing all these pilots going forward. We just saw another successful pilot of the Palau stablecoin. And I actually meant to pull this one up. I'm going to make sure that I get this one ready for you guys. I'm going to show this one after this. But I wanted to play this clip. This is a very interesting one right here. In regards to ISO 222 and the rollover of all of these messaging standards and all of these payment systems, this is Paul Tamala. He says, guys, it's just going to happen. If you think it's going to slip to 2025 or 2026, it's not. It's going to happen in 2024. This is going to set up the infrastructure for banks, exchanges, corporates, etc. to facilitate easy adoption for XRP and other DLT technologies as well. Whoever can survive this coming correction. Let's listen in.
Battles that we all know happens with ISO 20022.
All right, so looking at 2024 then, and getting your forecast, what are sort of the main big steps to sort of summarize what we've covered?
I think the big steps guys, it's just going to happen. And whether you think it's 2025 or it's going to slip to 2026, it's not. It will be a 2024 issue. And actually, you need to bite it. You really need to get yourself ready. And if it was up to me, I would say automate it, because otherwise you're just going to be doing a lot of busy work, and that's not good for you. It's not good for your customers. Battles that we all know happen.
And if anybody wanted a recommendation from this little guy over here, I would say partner up with a company like Ripple that will hold your hand on rolling over and adapting this technology. But you can see right here, this is Paul Tamala, head of industry and regulatory affairs at Finastra. And he's saying that it's going to happen in 2024, not 2025, not 2026. And the important piece that I want to share with you guys, do you think that they're going to wait to pump these coins until after all of their systems are rolled over, until after all these systems are put in place? No, they're not. And this is the run-up that we're kind of already seeing for the ETF hype and narrative, but I think it's going to continue even further. Although we can have pullbacks, although we can have corrections, although we can have Black Swan right at the beginning of 2024, Q1 2024, I think is prime Black Swan season from now until the rest of Q1 2024. That can pull us back. But what you see here is this is happening. It is real. It's going to be happening in 2024. And I believe that that's going to coincide, or even the price action can come in before that, which you could argue it's already happened, right? Bitcoin's already bottomed out at 15,000. XRP bottomed out at 40 cents. Now we're building back up. And although we could get significant pullbacks, just like we did in 2020, when Bitcoin went from about 10,500 back down to 3,800, and it almost went and set a new low, but it didn't. It held. And then from there, during 2020, you saw what happened all through that year into 2021, where we went and set that all-time high of 69,000. Now, I wanted to share this one here to finish this off here today. Wrath Economan Palau released a summary report that CBDC project on the XRPL. They note the pilot collateralized USD at a tier 1 FDIC United States bank. Very, very interesting, right? The whole deal about this was it was a stablecoin that was backed or collateralized by US dollars. So is this a proxy US dollar CBDC test? Many have asked that question. And sure enough, it involved collateralizing the USD at a tier 1 FDIC bank. And they collateralized about 20,000 US dollars. And they did view it as a success. And the long-term goal is to use the stable coin. So it was an absolute success when we combine that with what we just heard from Paul happening in 2024, right? It's here, guys. This is it, right? And the price action is going to come in here. It's going to be violent. It's going to be shaky. We're going to get pullbacks and bumps along the way. But without a doubt, it is happening. Multiple CBDC projects on the XRPL already live, going through the test phase. And this is going to be those that get an advantage, a competitive advantage. Just like Bank of America cited another Ripple partner who said that they were waiting for the SEC Ripple lawsuit to end so that they could start using XRP for a competitive advantage. That's what Palau's doing. That's what Bhutan wants to do. Bhutan's going to be rolling out their CBDC pilot next year. So it definitely is happening. And just like Rosie Rio said, the train has left the station. Don't get left behind. If you guys appreciate the update, make sure that you like this video and make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, because we got another one dropping tonight, another interview that you're not going to want to miss. A wealth of knowledge, Marcel, the butcher of Wall Street. We're going to get into everything on the macro. We're going to cover stocks. We're going to cover cryptocurrency. And I'm really looking forward to this session here tonight. Everything else can be found on my website, ZachRector.com. And I appreciate everyone for stopping by. I will see you in the next one. God bless you all.